The Wiggles.
It's Wednesday night and you're bored as shit. You've got nothing better to do, and you love your rugby league. So it's time to get online for League of Inches.
Welcome to all you bored, shitless people out there. Thank you once again for joining the League of Inches crew as we have our Wednesday night live show, which is really starting to take off the last few weeks. So really hope everyone gets back on board tonight. Get involved with the comments once again. We always appreciate all your views. First off, I'll start by just saying this, and Jez said it perfectly on Monday night. So I'll have to try and say it, back it up again. Just if you can, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, however you're either watching or listening to this, whether it's belatedly on the podcast or if it's live, if it's on YouTube or Facebook, just make sure you're smashing that that like button, that follow button, or that subscribe button as well. So let's get the boys in. Again, guys, keep those comments drifting throughout the video. It always gets better traction once you guys get involved. But Mika's actually grown some hair, grown a beard. He's looking a little bit different this week, and he's apparently a Supercoach whiz all of a sudden. So, Jesse, you are back on a Wednesday show. You were very, very popular last one, so you got some big hype to fill. How's things?
Yeah, good, man. Don't oversell it, please. I've obviously captioned it. Wait, this isn't Supercoach. I didn't watch a great deal of footy last week, so I'll see what I can do. But I'll dial back the enthusiasm to true Mika fashion.
Well,
it's a whole lot of sitting back and relaxing, and then pretend forgetting that you're on camera. If you could just do that, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah,
he's already asking where's the colourful shirt. You've had a shirt change. People have noticed already.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I went and changed my shirt before we started.
He is in true Mika style. He's wearing a black shirt. So for those who know, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Jez, we did the review show, obviously, went way over time like we always do. But it was a cracking episode. We had a lot of comments coming in. They seemed to just dig the twosome. So we were doing some things on Monday night. But here we are again. How was your last few days?
Well, the twosome's not in my search category, but whatever floats your boat. It was my son's second birthday today, so we have just wrapped up our Wiggly party. The kitchen is still full of the Wiggles decorations, and I had my yellow skivvy on, ready to go, and it was super fun. So that's what we've been doing. 2 years old. Can you believe it? Unbelievable.
Happy birthday.
What a guy.
How are you feeling? You buggered or?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely wrecked. And my wife is no better. She is one tired lady right now. So let's do this podcast so we can go to bed.
Adam, there's questions about your brother, and he can come on and defend himself. But where is he tonight? Do you want to start some accusations or some rumors around what he's actually doing tonight?
Look.
Hair transplants?
I touched on... No, he hasn't gone to Turkey. It's not Turkey. As I touched on last week, and I can't confirm or deny this one, like, as he's obviously a lifelong Tigers fan, I think he's just jumped ship. He's down at some kind of Tigers reunion or something like that for the people that were 1 year old supporting the Tigers. I don't know. I actually don't know where he is. You told me he wasn't going to be on. I didn't even know.
Walking out of the bushes now.
Yeah, well, he's jumped over, and I think he's a Canberra Raiders fan this weekend as well. So to be honest, he's probably going to be supporting the winning teams, but blocking claps out. Adam, you had your big rant last night for those that didn't see it. Have you cooled down over the last 24 hours?
I'm calm, calm, collected. Tell you what, I'm in a world of hurt. I just thought there's obviously still a bit of build-up anger from the current Parramatta situation. So I decided to go to footy training tonight just to see if I could smack a few people. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 32 at the moment.
Well done.
Yeah. retirement's right there for me. I'm done with these sports activities. Let's get stuck into what caught our eye this week. Adam, I'm going to throw back to you actually straight away. Go back
Right.
around the opposite way. What caught your eye this week?
What caught my eye is what should have caught my eye. I went to the Easter show on Monday. Obviously, a fabulous day out at the Sydney Royal Easter show with a 3-year-old. Would recommend it to anyone who's stupid enough to do it. He walked about 10Ks handed, but I think what caught my eye is the NRL missing a massive opportunity. Obviously, Friday, they have the South Sydney and the Bulldogs game there. I believe the Parramatta game should be played there on the Monday against the Tigers as well. I don't care what they have to do. They should have a Saturday and a Sunday game there as well and just jump on board. Like there used to be promotions there with, if you had a Royal Easter Show ticket, you get like a $20 family ticket or something like that to the football. Bring it back. Have 4 games of football there that weekend. I'm not calling for a magic round, but 4 games or even 4 games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Make it happen because there were so many people walking around in rugby league jerseys at the Easter show. And I just reckon it's a huge opportunity to actually make that happen. So what caught my eye is the NRL needs to be better there. On the field?
No,
Not on the field? Well, as you can see by my comment.
normally we just...
Yeah, we do it on and off, don't we? I'm going off. I'm going
just
right?
do one, but you can go both. Go on.
Yeah. Ain't no sheep here. It's been how many years since the obstruction thing? The old school Shepherd's been around. They still can't get it right. Everyone still has no idea what the fuck is going on when it comes to the Shepherd, when it comes to the obstruction call. I'm sick of hearing about it. There's so much inconsistency. They call it one game, they're not the next. They call it in one part of the game, they're not the next part of the game. So I've had enough. Fix your shit, NRL. As I've always said, fans want consistency. That's all we want.
We are getting there, so just hold your horses.
Okay, sorry.
Woosah.
Passion.
Jez, what caught your eye apart from spending probably the week setting up for this birthday party?
Yeah, well, the cake making was super fun. Create a little Wiggles cake. But what caught my eye on the field was the impact of a quality halfback and a controlling halfback. So I've watched a couple of games and had a look at a couple of highlights as well. And nothing stands out more than the Sean Johnson versus the Knights. The way that he controlled that game, the way that he kicked into the wind was just instrumental. And then you look at the games like the Parramatta game where they are missing their halfback and how directionless they were. So just how pivotal a quality halfback is to a team on the field. Off the field? No, I haven't got much for off the field apart from people are really aggressive on the roads lately. Lots of honk, honk, toot, toots, and not enough waves of thank you when you let them in.
Chugga, big red cars.
Toot, toot, chugga, chug. Plenty
Really
of that.
You're in a Wiggles theme.
I can do up and do the dance if you like.
You can tie those two together, Jeremy. You can tie them perfectly. There's a lot of angry people around because Mitchell Moses is missing. So they're driving with anger. You nailed it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why everybody's calling Mitchell Pearce right now.
Yeah. Or me. I'm available too. Be a better option.
That's why he actually went back to training tonight. He's just trying to get into shape for that number 7 jersey. Jesse, you were on the road a bit on the weekend. Did you notice that as well? I saw you nodding your head. And what caught your eye this week?
Mate, it's always relevant, especially around like long weekends. People just turn into freaking spuds out on the road. So there's no point they're doing it. It's just don't worry about letting anyone in. Just cut them off. Fuck them. Put your finger up. They're going to do the same. So you're all right. Don't stress. As far as on the field goes, I didn't really watch much, so I can't really put too much of a say in there. My tips weren't fantastic, so there must have been something going on.
Talk about them.
Yeah, I think 4 wasn't very happy with it. But off the field, I was away from home for about 3.5 days, and I come back, and my daughter's almost 3, and I feel like her vocabulary has exploded. All of a sudden, she's speaking full sentences, and I've been gone for a couple of days, so it's like I've come back to a different kid. So, yeah, that's one thing I can say, off the field. Nothing super exciting, but I'm blowing out here, so I'll just take my little wins. But
it's funny you mentioned actually a 3-year-old's vocabulary because my 3-year-old learned a few new words at the Parramatta game on Monday. So the two tie in so well together.
A lot of one syllable 4 letters.
Yeah, and it wasn't Sevo, I'll tell you that much.
Talking about kids, I'll tell you what, off the field for me, got a 7-month-old at the moment who is sick, and it's the first time dealing with a sick baby, and it has not been pleasant. I know what it is with the last 48 hours, but I feel like I've been hit by a bus. The non-sleep, the lack of sleep. He's coughing and spluttering, so who knows what I'm catching. I feel like I had it on the weekend, but I feel like I'm getting a second batch of it. I don't know what's going on, but it has not been a great couple of days. The missus now has it, so it's been good, but pushing on the field. I just want to bring up a talking point I didn't actually talk to you guys about. Heard it on Rugby League 3, NRL 360 tonight, and I'm just getting it's a talking point in itself, the kickoff, and the fact that they're talking about getting rid of the kickoff when it comes to obviously trying to minimize the concussions, the head clash, all that sort of jazz. At the moment, we've seen so far this year a fair few being caused because of that collision that's off the kickoff. I can understand to a certain degree why they're starting to toss this up, because they've done it with obviously the dropouts. They're trying to find ways to minimize that. Obviously, rugby love to copy the American sports, and the NFL already do it to a certain extent with their kickoffs and the returns, etc. Are we moving to that sort of level, boys? You think we are going to see the kickoff within, I feel like, a couple of years basically change to something else, whether it's simply a tap, whether it's you've got to do that short kickoff and the short kickoff only. I'm not sure where, but I think with the way they're dealing with these concussions and how serious it is getting, it looks to me like something will have to happen and change with that shortly.
They may as well helmets on them. Like, what else are you going to
Is
do?
it going
Like,
that
it's
way?
collision sport, man. You're going to get them accidentally every time. Like, there's no one going out there intentionally banging heads. Obviously, you can try and do as much as you can to minimize the risk, but if you're taking away like just a standard part of the game, a kickoff, like where do you draw the line? Obviously, player
You can't
welfare
get
is
rid
the
of it.
biggest
Yeah.
thing, but it's just I don't know, man. Like you start taking away just the fundamental basics of a game just so you can avoid someone banging into their head, but they run into each other at full sprint regardless. So I don't know.
You
Where
can't
do
get
you?
rid of it. The kickoff is where games are won or lost. Like that's where you set the standard. That's where you set the tone of how you're going to approach a rugby league game. So if you're soft off that kickoff and your line gets bent backwards, then you know your next 10 minutes is going to be really tough. Or if you have that really great carry that bursts through the line, it's vice versa. You know that you're going to have the upper hand straight away. I don't think they're going to go away from the kickoffs. I understand trying to reduce collisions, but it's such a fundamental part of our game. There's no way that they're going to turn that into a tap and run.
Yeah.
That's when I
Sorry,
turn
guys.
off.
Just got a phone call here from me, mate. Hello, Ben. Yeah, Ben. No, mate, no. My mate Ben here, you might know him, plays for the Dragons now. He's asked if we can go back about 10 years and get rid of the kickoff. He reckons it's a really good idea. He thinks you're onto something, Joel. But really, no, we can't get rid of it. As Jeremy said, it sets the tone. We're looking towards a kind of special team. Like the dropout's already frustrating enough. The picking and choosing the short dropout, they obviously changed the rule around that. Look, teams go to short kickoffs, that's fine, but the rules have obviously got to remain the same with the penalty there, because if you're going to be prepared to take that risk and potentially try and get the ball back or whatever, I think it's just as dangerous with two blokes jumping through the air trying to get the ball back, or if we go to like an onside kick in a kind of way with a grubber, two blokes running down looking at the ball, as opposed to obviously colliding with each other.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just quickly, I know you mentioned the drop out, and I know how our panelist, Mika, wants to bring this up. And the fact that is the new rule with the short restart actually taking away the kicking to have those little in-goal, getting the set restarts, etc. Is it really taken away from that now? But like there seems to be losing that advantage. A lot of teams are starting to run the ball in the last and really be happy just to camp down 5 meters out from the opposition goal line. I think that's taken away a little bit because players like, say, Moses, Cleary, Reynolds, etc., who really have those good boots and can benefit off going set to really put pressure on teams. If you've got a big winger or a big second row who can jump up and catch the ball, it's sort of just there's no point in doing it anymore in a way because you're going to lose the ball anyway. Jez, what do you? I know Mick has been so big on it and he's not here to talk about it tonight, but he'll be in the comments, no doubt. I'll bring the comment up once he does get into it. What are your thoughts on the restarts at the moment?
In terms of like the short dropouts, I'm not a fan. I find it just takes away from the flow of the game, and you can just tell as soon as someone concedes a dropout that they're going to hit it short. And the success rate, like what is the percentage of them actually being successful and keeping the ball off a dropout that normally ends in a penalty from either an obstruction or an escort run, or it just gets batted over the sideline? Like I hate them.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate them. There is nothing better than a dropout going 50 meters. Like remember when dropouts used to go about 60 meters? If they got over halfway, you're thinking, wow, we're back in the game here. But now we're doing these little dinks, and it just lets the opposition, I don't know, it's just the success rate is not there. I wouldn't be doing them. But there's got to be someone in and amongst the teams going, you should be doing them because of this.
Have we
And
seen?
the annoying thing is when you're a Para fan, you got Sean Lane, who's the size of an absolute beanstalk, who doesn't even look to go for the ball. It just frustrates the shit out of you.
The bloke's never had to reach for anything in his life. He doesn't know how to put his hands above his head. But what an interesting one, which I don't think we've really seen a lot of them in the time since this short dropouts have been a thing. But the 20-meter dropout, obviously, when a penalty goal, they go for a penalty goal and they miss it. I don't think I've seen a short dropout off a 20-meter dropout. Like in that situation, wouldn't they just go long? Because let's say you've got a Matt Burton who can kick the ball 60 meters. It's going to put him on the 10-meter line essentially anyway. So
that's what I mean. Remember when you knew that you had the wind behind you and your team had a dropout? And if you hit it 70 meters, like you're back in the game.
Once again, that front
position to
rower.
build on too. You're
That
basically
front
just
rower's
giving them a
standing like
chance.
this,
Yeah.
watching the ball go over his head. It's a great moment in rugby league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, there's a lot of talking points to get into, but we've got to do Adam's favorite part of the show now. The defending back-to-back champion for the quiz is loosening up. Again, it's going to be random order. I've already put the questions down. You want to go number one, Adam?
No, it's just wanting you to acknowledge me. We're gonna go Jeremy first, Jesse second, Adam third.
Stitch up. I'm terrible at these. Bring it on. How quick can I
Now-
Google?
Here we go.
Jez, who had the bye in round 4?
Storm.
Ding, ding, ding. Well done, Jez. He's got 1 from 1. Jesse, which player obstructed Dylan Edwards on the weekend?
Rhea Hargraves.
Oh, hey, there we go. Don't worry, guys. It starts off easy. We all know that by now.
Didn't even watch the game.
Adam, or does it? Who knows? Who was sent for 10 in the Eels v Tigers game?
The 5'8" Galvin, is it?
Oh, his first name isn't the 5'8", so that one's wrong.
I said
Unlucky.
Galvin.
Unlucky,
I said his
Adam.
last
No.
name. Hang on.
No, you missed it.
Technically.
Sorry,
You missed it.
Luke Galvin. Sorry.
Oh, it's Lockie, isn't it?
Luke Galvin's
Often.
wrong as well.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's Galvin. I said Galvin.
All right. 1-1. Second round. Jez, how big was the Raiders' lead before the Sharks' first try?
Or was it 18?
I don't know. Was it? You tell me.
Well, I'm going
That's
to lock it
correct.
in, Eddie. I'm going to lock it in.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. Jesse, how many tries did Tyrell Sloan score on the weekend?
No. 2.
Oh, that's a guess and a half. Well done. Well done.
Hey.
2 from 2. Look out. The champ could be gone
We're
here.
coming for you, Martin.
How,
That's it.
You guys
Adam,
been studying?
Didn't even watch.
How many unanswered points did the Dolphins score on the weekend?
How many unanswered points did they score?
Stop
Yes.
looking down. Stop looking down, you cheater. I'm looking at these eyes.
No, I'm actually thinking. Well, Gold Coast scored the last try and they're up 10-0. So it was 30 unanswered points, but then they scored. So your question's invalid because they scored points. They scored 30 straight points before the Gold Coast scored. So technically the
So what are you
answer
looking
is
at?
what's 30? They scored 30 points. And then it was they were
So,
answered them. Your question
Yeah,
doesn't
but they
make
were
sense.
unanswered at the time. So
Yes.
it was
No, that's wrong
They
then.
didn't score. Lions didn't score a point in that period of time. So the Dolphins
Okay, so
scored
it was-
unanswered
it was
points.
You got it
30.
right anyway. Stop arguing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not. It could be 0. By the technicality, it's 0 because they were
Oh,
answered.
mate,
They
the way
answered
you're
the
going, you'll
points.
lose a point. You'll
Stop
lose a
looking
point,
down
you
at
know,
that corner. I see your eyes
I'd be
darting.
quiet.
Yeah.
Last round. Let's see if this could be an all-3 tiebreaker. How? This is to Jez. How many conversions did Sean Johnson kick on the weekend?
Oh, he loves his conversions.
Or 3 from 3.
Bum, bum. 3 from 3, and then a penalty goal as well. So it was 4.
You said
Unlucky,
conversions.
Jez.
That was a technicality as
You
well.
said
That was-
conversions. Go and eat it.
That's a rough one.
Oh, okay. Do you want to give it to him, guys?
No,
No.
A penalty goal is a conversion.
which is rough. Yeah, what a stitch
All
up.
right, in the comments, if we get 2 people that write in right now, that's give Jez the point. Jez will get the point. If they're very quiet, Jez, unlucky, you got it wrong. Jesse, how many teams failed to score over 10 points this weekend? And just for all those technicalities, the team that had the bye doesn't count, obviously.
There's been a lot of technicalities.
3.
0.
Oh well, fuck me.
No,
What do you
all
do?
teams scored over 10. Even the Titans scored over 10. How about that?
Good on them.
This is for the
wow.
win.
Now,
This is for the win.
this is only one comment came in supporting Jez, so unlucky.
I
hang on,
read
no,
2. I read
Andrew's
2.
helped
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
but
so
there's about
Jez,
7 against.
taking
You can't comment yourself.
3 from 3. Jez,
No,
3
that was
from
Jeremy
3.
Johns. That wasn't me.
He got 2. He got it wrong. He got it wrong. This is for the win.
Travis, Andrew, there is a few, and then Brad as well. So Adam, which team scored the most points this weekend? 5.
Oh, come on. The Sharks.
Broncos. Jez is the winner. He's taken the
How's he
champ
the winner?
down.
He didn't get it right. No.
Default.
I-
Default.
You know what? Technically, you know what he did. It would have been. It'd be a tiebreaker for all 3. It's a tiebreaker. I'll go with
Tiebreaker, 100%.
Everyone's in
Oh.
it. Everyone's in it.
We get an
Everyone
A
got
for
the
effort.
last ones wrong.
Gold stars.
Just because
Now
Adam
you
had
got
a
it. Your
whinge.
name. Your name's your buzzer.
Adam,
Name the current.
I was just testing my buzzer. I
Go on,
was testing my
go on.
buzzer.
Go.
I was
Go,
testing-
go.
No, no,
Name
no.
the current.
I was I said that
Current
before you
what?
answered. There's a delay.
Name the current.
5
Current New
second
South
delay.
Wales coach is Michael Maguire.
Bam. Unlucky.
You're
That doesn't
out. See you
count.
later.
That doesn't
Jesse,
count.
Right.
Jesse and Jez.
Mute him. Mute
Name
him,
the
please.
current. Name the current top 4 in order.
Oh, Dolphins. Jeremy. Dolphins.
Jeremy's not in the top 4.
No, I'm not in the top 4. I got one.
Can I name him? Can I come back in? Because I
No,
was just
Jesse, we
testing
can
my
share
buzzer.
points here. Let's work it out together. Dolphins,
Dolphins. Surely Panthers are up there.
Panthers. But that's not in
Has to
order.
be
I don't
in
think that's
order,
the order.
remember?
Oh, true.
think it's in order.
Can I have this?
You're out.
Nah.
You're muted. Bugger
Sorry,
off.
mate.
I didn't-
Gone.
No.
You wanted
Um,
to jump the gun.
I was testing my buzzer.
Cowboys and Penrith are in there, aren't they? They're in the top 4. We need one
They'd
more.
have to be.
And the Roosters.
No, they're wrong. It's Dolphins, Panthers,
no,
Cowboys,
blah, blah,
and
blah, blah.
Sharks.
Well, what a
Adam-
shame. You're not even going to
Adam
get
has
those
got it.
points too.
Yeah. Oh, we all have a draw. What a shame.
It's a draw this week, so they're all coming back as champs next week. Boys,
Except for
Adam-
Michael.
yeah, Adam, you mentioned it, so you can take us away with this first big talking point, the obstruction. What's happened with it? What is going on? Because it just feels like we're more lost than we've ever been with this rule.
It does every year, though. Every year there's something, and it's obviously hit a bit earlier this year, which is probably a good thing. But like, we haven't got it right for how long's an obstruction been a thing now? Pretty much since the video ref kind of took over, since the bunker come in, I'm guessing. It's just frustrating. Like I said, as fans, all you want is consistency. You don't care if it doesn't go your way one week, but what's frustrating is when it goes against you when it shouldn't. So I don't know what they need to do. Like, the rule's black and white. I guess this bringing, he could have got there, or he may have got there, denied him an opportunity, but then they started ruling on, we don't think he'll get there. You can't decide that. If it's an obstruction, it's an obstruction. If someone stops in the line, Jake Dvorovich, eat a dick, Gus Gould, it's an obstruction. If someone runs through the line, obviously, they obstruct someone. But I guess the milking's become the same. Like the milking of the fullback. Edwards milked that, for sure. 100% he milked it. I know it's one of Jeremy's, things he likes calling out is the whole milking of things. But if I'm a player, I am falling over. I am diving because they don't get it right. Like, if you're obstructed, you shouldn't have to fall over to get your point across. Yeah, it's pros and cons for both of them. Like, how far does Jared have to run? He does the right thing from stopping your line. Do you want him to go to the crowd and high five? Then he's out of play for the next play, for example. There's so many things, but they just can't get it right. I don't know when they're ever going to get it right. Probably Magic Round, they'll have a crackdown on it again, do something stupid.
I just don't get the whole people, and me and Jess spoke about this on Monday night, was people trying to say Jared Hargraves knew what he was doing the whole time. Like, he honestly did not look at him till right at that last second, and it was already too late for him to do anything. Edwards was already set on making contact with him. And I know All Division came out today. Fox has gone on and done their camera and predicted what would have happened and stuff. But for mine, it just looked like he wouldn't have got there. Like, I know they did the maths, he'll get there, blah, blah, but come on. We're not going to be ruling obstructions on this, surely. This opens this up so much now. There is people up there saying, should the actual should the fullback be classed as frontline defense? Should we be ruling on that as well, Jez? Defense is defense at the end of the day, I feel like. It shouldn't matter if it's the fullback or if it's but it's just about if they do generally get impacted.
Yeah, it's all. I don't think it's too much about stopping in the line. It's about impacting a defender and the potential of them getting and making a tackle. So it doesn't matter where that defender is. If they are in the way, if they are in the line of where they are going to run to make a play, then it's an obstruction. The rule is black and white. However, the interpretation of different referees is where we are losing our absolute minds, because that's where, and even in the same game, we're getting different interpretations of the obstruction rule. I do go on about the diving and the showboating and making it very obvious to the officials that there was an obstruction. The thing is, what annoys me so much about that is they're not doing it for the on-field referee. They're doing it for the bunker. So the bunker can go, hang on, we need to double check this. Someone is lying on the ground. Someone is dead. Oh, wait, they're back up. But let's go back and we'll check what happened. Okay, it's an obstruction. Let's rule the penalty. Unlucky, see you later. So players are pandering to the rule, but the rule is black and white. What is not black and white is who is officiating that game or who is in the bunker for that game. And that's where all those frustrations are coming from. With the Jared Hargraves thing, I liked Adam's comment of he should go and high five every single person in the crowd after he's run through the line, because then that way he's completely out of the play. If he's that far in the back line, though, he's not going to be in the next play anyway. He's overrun that by a million miles. But we can't expect him to stop in such a short space. Like, is he supposed to stop in that no man's land in between fullback and the line? Like, I don't know. He impeded the defender, and that's the black and white rule.
I'm going to throw a catch-22 at you. Most backline moves are ran on play 4, right? Most sweeping backline moves when they run a block play and usually put that front runner through. Obviously, most times not receiving the ball. The rules now overrule each other in a way. So Jared goes through the line there. He avoids, obviously goes past Dylan Edwards. He's in the in goal for the next play, which is a kick. He can be penalised for a downtown rule.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Like, they're bringing these new rules. They change rules and stuff like that. We're talking about concussions earlier and kickoffs and stuff. By getting rid of the shoulder charge, for example, they brought in how many different, I remember, just it made me think of obviously shoulder charge kickoff, but it brought in all these things with chicken wings and grapple tackles and the hip drop and stuff like that. They change rules and they don't think about the consequences of what it can affect.
Yeah, you're right.
Jez, sorry, not Jez. Jesse, you're the Roosters fan on here, so it obviously impacted you the most out of anyone. So you can talk about this passionately with your heart, obviously, with your Roosters sunnies on. What did you think of it all?
To be fair, like, as far as it went, I saw everything going on this week about it. I didn't see it happen live, so I'm sure I probably would have been pretty
true
bloody
supporter
outraged when it did happen. Oh, mate, bloody hell.
Most Roosters fans don't watch games, do they?
Nah, you're swinging in September.
Just Supercoach, man. I just watched Supercoach numbers, but no, this particular week I didn't watch the game, so I bloody missed a big one. I saw it, and then I saw this, that Hawkeye thing about, would he potentially have made it? There's so many factors between what can happen when he starts that run to what happens when he finally gets there. What happens in that kind of space too, because you're talking about the span of like 2.5 seconds potentially. There's too much that can happen in there to go, oh, he would have made that tackle, he would have stopped it. But again, Jez is right. The interpretation is black and white, but they rule it pretty different. The one that happened with Tupanua, in comparison to the one that happened with Maria Hargraves, where one was impeded and the other one was on the other side, one was, called and one wasn't. It's like, that's where you start to go, okay, what's going on between these two? Because essentially they were the same thing. Maybe Ria Hargraves kind of overran it and got in the way, but they were the same thing. And you see it game to game as well. And then you can go, all right, cool, let's watch this replay and then watch this one from last round. What's the difference? One was called, one wasn't. And then this is why we're having this discussion. So regardless of what happens, all you have to do is lay down and the bunker will look at it. So it kind of doesn't matter. You can milk the shit out of anything now because whatever the ref says, it kind of gets overruled by the bunker anyway. So if you can make it look good enough and you think, oh, I would have got there, then you're probably going to get the penalty anyway. So
I reckon that's where most of the frustrations are coming from, though, is because rugby league is now turning into who can milk that penalty the best. And it happens on every time there's a team that is close to the try line, you'll see 3 or 4 blokes get hit and die. So it's whoever can milk that penalty the best. And you know, as soon as someone hits the ground, you go, oh my God, here we go. This is going to get brought back. Obstruction. Yep, it
Adam
is.
Reynolds. Adam Reynolds put that in big time. But what we're ruling on now is possibilities of what could have happened. So where does that stop? They're saying he possibly could have got there and make a tackle. It's also possible he could have got there and hit him high. It's possible he could have slid it and got him with his knees. There's so many possibilities. If you're going to start throwing them around, you can't say he definitely would have got there and stopped the try.
Don't get us started on that penalty try again. Don't get us started.
No, I am though, because like I said, the possibilities are amazing when you start to think about it.
Yeah, the Knights could possibly win every game from now on.
No, that's just delusional. That's not possible.
Oh, sorry.
On with Mika's one I brought up a bit earlier, I just want to talk about this point quickly and the media and the so-called experts, etc. At last week's one, the one with Moretti on Jake Trbojevic, that was a clear cut for mine, black and white obstruction. Like, I don't know why there was such a blow up from so-called media personnel experts saying that he was never going to get there, blah blah. He was taken out. Jake stood there in the front line, basically had a player on top of him, decided to stay there. It's a black and white obstruction. This one this week is completely different to last week's because there is so much more unknown about it that it can't just be ruled like and brought up in that same situation as what last week's one was. Last week's was a penalty, end of story. This one, we're getting into dangerous territory because technically he was almost halfway across the field before, like, as Jesse said, there's so much that could happen in that. He could have tripped over himself. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen with him running over there to stop Manu scoring that try. So if we're going to start penalising that and looking at that, are we going to start looking at someone over the other side of the field? Like if Josh Adokar gets taken out on the other side of the wing and we go, oh, he had 0.4 of a second to get to the other winger's person.
He's the fastest man in the world. He is the fastest man in the world.
Are we going to start ruling on that sort of stuff? Like, there's got to be a point where it's just you can't just start ruling it. It's becoming a bit of a joke.
Yeah, definitely to wind back on it, but I think at this point in time we kind of have to just accept it's the way it is in a way. Otherwise, you're gonna drive yourself mad. You think you're bound to have 1 or 2 bad calls here and there. Hope it's not your team. It's kind of the best you're gonna get.
Well, this is
just frustrating when it is always against your team.
Yeah.
Well, going back to last week's one, this is an interesting point here, is that if you don't score a try, do the referees bring it back? A lot of the time they don't. And this is the thing that actually is doing my head in at the moment that I see. Players actually just fall to the ground and take the tackle, blah, 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 or they don't score on purpose. You see them slow up, things like that to get tackled. If it's a penalty, if it's an obstruction, it has to be ruled on moving forward. You can't just give them the benefit of the doubt because the next play, they might have some advantage happening and they might go and score on that next play. They've already then taken advantage of that obstruction call. If they committed an obstruction, whether they score or not, it should be penalised on the spot.
Or if they lie down because they know it's an obstruction or a shepherd, blow the penalty for the voluntary tackle.
Smack him.
Voluntary tackle.
Smack him on the ground. Obviously, Michael jizzed his pants a couple of weeks ago when the LOI one happened against Penrith. Parramatta have tried to do that 3 times since when a player's an obstruction, and every single time the referee hasn't had the ball to call it, even though it was the right call. So, like I said, we're going to get inconsistencies with referees. Different referees are going to rule on different things, but the bunker, and this is what I want, I know it's a hard thing. It's not that hard. You're sitting there watching the screen anyway. I think we need one person controlling every game in the bunker. Like, one person does all 8 games. Like, they do it from Belmore anyway, I think. Like, it's not that hard. Like, it's 8 games. You're working what's that? An hour and a half every game. You're working 16 hours a week. You're a referee, ex-referee. Get Henry Perinara to do it every week, or Gavin Badger, someone like that. I don't care who it is, but I guess what you're going to find is if you've got the one person doing it, with every game, you're going to have a bit more consistency.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Most of these calls have been done by the bunker, like being missed
Yeah.
by the referees and called by the bunker.
Yeah, no, I agree. Moving on to the next week, we'll talk about this for hours, and it's just I'm over talking about this freaking stupid rule at the moment because I don't think anyone's going to get it right. The NRL is not going to do too much drastic changes right now. They're probably loving the fact that it's getting spoken about so much in the media. I'm going to throw this one first off to Jez. Mitchell Moses, after what you've seen from Parramatta on Monday, what do you think he's actually worth to that team at the moment in that club?
Oh, half the cap at least. He is the linchpin for Parramatta. He's the one that brings it all together. He's the one that has the direction, the kicking game. They were like headless chooks for a part there, and it's sad because Dylan Brown was only, a number up, but yeah, Mitchell Moses is just so pivotal to that team. And as much as I don't like Parramatta because of one A Martin and M Martin, I thoroughly enjoy Mitchell Moses, and I'm a big fan of his. So easily, I reckon about 1.5. Get him up there. What's he on now? What's he on?
Oh, he's only on like 950 or something. Like there was
not
rumors.
enough.
It was over $1 million.
Yeah, sure.
It was over $1 million.
I reckon he ended up getting that.
I think it's
1-1.
1.05 or something like that. It was like a
Yeah, it's just
Nah, get him up there. Get him up there. He is Parramatta at the moment. Even King Gutho trying his guts out couldn't get that for you.
Adam, I'm going to you last because I feel like there could be a bit more to this topic from you. So a little bit of last night coming back. Jesse, we're not talking about Supercoach at the moment because he obviously stuffed our plans. We were going to both get him into our side last week to come in for the injured Nathan Cleary, so we couldn't do that. As an outsider looking in, Mitchell Moses looks like he is more and more now improving not just as a player, but becoming the sort of the heartbeat of this Parramatta team. When he's on and he's game controlling, he's just up there as top level. I feel like probably second best half in the competition. It's not unfair to say. What does that put a price tag on? Because at the moment, I feel like Parramatta have actually signed his new contract on unders with the way we've been performing without him.
Yeah, well, I think now, obviously, with him gone, I can't remember a time where he was really out for an extended period. So I don't really know if the Eels have had to kind of make do with a loss of someone that important for the side, off the top of my head anyway. But obviously, he's going to be gone for quite a while now, and they're going to realize that he is so important to that team. It's just the lack of direction. Like, obviously, you pay your big bickies to get your good half in there. They have trusted him to kind of take him to a premiership, and they've paid him accordingly. But I feel like even still, the amount that he's on comparative to what some of the other players in the league are on, obviously you look at how important he is to that side. You could probably justify a bit more for him, considering. But yeah, man, like he's really coming to his own, and he just everything about his game is solid. Like, fair enough, the Eels might have their inconsistencies as such, but him as an individual, when he's on, he's really on. So obviously I look at things from more of like the stat standpoint too, and you see the output there in the numbers, and you think, fuck, like this guy's really got it, compared to some of the others in the comp. But yeah, when he's on, the team does well, and obviously when he's not there, they kind of don't really know where they're going with it. So I think that kind of speaks volumes in itself. But yeah, he's a good player, man. You'd love to have him any side. He just walks into any team, maybe by the Panthers, but that's the only other half in the comp that you could really say that's much better. So
I know a team that could probably do with another half.
it's the Knights.
I think 7's a good number to have.
You can-
7
you can- you
halves
can-
in your team.
Yeah,
you can have
seven
him. You
sevens.
can have him for the next 7 weeks. How about that?
Mate, I'd take him. And I'd put him on the field and he'd probably win us a couple of games.
Yeah, let's kick with the other
I'm
foot.
with you there, Jez. Chuck him in a moon boot and put him on the field, please. We need him. Adam, take this to wherever you want to take this, because no doubt I still feel like there's a little bit of frustrations there. As soon as I mention this, there's Para fans blowing up in the comments just about the game as well, saying that Saunders should have been in there. If he was in there, we win the game, which we've spoken about last night, and probably agree with in a way that we lacked that halfback that just could game manage and kick the ball from A to B. Where do you think with Moses, what he's worth to the club, and then sort of the aftermath of what happened on Monday?
$1 trillion. No. Sorry, I had to, you didn't think I was going to go there, did you? Yeah. Look, it's not so much what he's worth. We know what he's worth. He's worth what he's getting paid. It's how valuable he is for the team. And as it brings back to the interesting point of what I've said for so long, teams don't need two top-notch halves in their team because one just gets reliant on the other one doing all the work, e.g. Dylan Brown. Now, Dylan Brown's not capable of running a football team. We've seen that. Parramatta have so much their cap invested in Moses, Brown, and Gutherson. You'd have to think that's going to chew up at least a third of their cap with those three players in a way, or close to. Like, it's a fair chunk of money, like at least a quarter. Then they turn around and, they don't have the money to spend on a backup halfback, and every team needs a backup halfback. The backup halfback is Parramatta. He's a 19-year-old kid who came out of SG Ball last year. Had a wonderful year, but now they're saying he's not ready or Arthur doesn't want to play him. So it's not so much what Moses is worth. I've always known how valuable he is. He's adapted his game so well. I'd say on his day, he's probably more valuable to Parramatta than Cleary is to Penrith, because Penrith have proved that they have obviously a system that works when they can bring another player in. Maybe it's a coaching style. Could be something to do with that. You've seen obviously Melbourne over the years to be able to bring the next player up mentality. Parramatta don't seem to have that. But I could go on for hours about how valuable he is, but I'm not going to because I did it last night. But all I will say is Parramatta need a 7 while he's gone. It's going to be a long fucking 7 weeks.
And unfortunately, this highlighted comment speaks volumes of things, and it's more and more likely that is the case. And Brad Arthur won't be able to swallow his pride and play probably our next best option at half while our Mitch Moses is out. And Andrew sort of said it before, and I want to just touch on it and take this a little bit here. I know we don't really talk Parramatta much on here because of obviously the Talking Para podcast, but I'll mention this now and bring it up while it's here. I blame the coaching decisions a lot on Monday's performance and how they played. Like that comment perfect. Dill Brown is one of the most dangerous running halves in the game. He's 5'8". We all know that and see that. On his day, probably the best 5'8" in the game. Munster's obviously out at the moment, so I haven't put him into the discussion. And to have him there and even just having that 7 on your back just adds extra pressure that he doesn't need to his game. He's not a natural organizing playmaker, and straight away just putting that onto him. And Brad Arthur might talk to him behind closed doors and say, look, you're playing your natural game still, but he won't be. Like, there's that little person in the back of his head telling him, you've got the 7 on your back today. You've got to play a certain style. And then it was clear as day that Gutho was also told to get really involved and become that sort of main guy in that team as well on the weekend, which really hurt Dylan Brown as well. The other one I just didn't like. I didn't like Blades getting thrown to the Wolves in a way at 6 while Mitchell Moses wasn't there. I think having Brown and Blades together in the halves was really, really hurtful for his moving into his future for Blaze Talangi. He's a centre at the moment for mine. I know he did play the halves junior footy, but while he's coming through in the grades, I like to see him still keep that centre position. I know the Lomax rumours is going to really hurt that. It'd just be good to see him continue that while he's there playing that. So I thought he played quite well after a tough start to the game last week against Manly. So I would have liked to see him just keep that position and make it his own for the next few weeks. But that's my 2 cents on that. Look, Adam, we spoke about this last night. Put Brown at fullback, Gutho to 5'8".
Do you want me to take it? Gutherson is not a 5'8". He'll never be a 5'8". I know, obviously, on the weekend he got in and did some stuff in the halves. That sums up how terribly Parramatta were going. His final touch is terrible. His creative play is terrible. His kicking game is average at best. But I guess that kind of shows you how bad Dylan Brown played, just constantly running. He didn't play bad. He played the perfect game as a 5'8". He ran the ball and looked dangerous every time he ran it, but did not set up shit. Like I said, Parramatta need to fix this. Gutherson, look, if we're going to go with that, if it is our best option, which I don't think it is, and play him at halfback, at least then we need to put someone to fullback and let him have the number 1 on his back. Put Blaze to fullback or something like that. But like I said, this highlights the problem if we're going to move our captain, our fullback, who's probably been our best player so far this year, consistency-wise, with his effort areas. It shows our club obviously needs another halfback or some depth in general because something's going wrong there.
Yeah, and there is a lot of talk about the reserve grade. I know they are struggling at the moment, not playing well, but you can't put that on Ethan Sanders for mine because he can't do anything down there. Like some of the players that are around him, he's struggling. For mine, what I have seen from reserve grade this year, he actually has been one of the better players. It's funny, the two probably youngsters in that group, him and Matt Arthur, have been the two probably best players in that team. So that's saying something. But look, we'll move on from that. We could talk all night about the Eels and ball the shit out of Jesse and Jez, and we won't do that to them. Well, let's get them back involved. There's another team that I think we need to start this next segment with. I think there's a video that
Yeah, no,
certain
before
people
you,
want to play.
this
is
isn't
your
your
team?
moment. This isn't your moment, Joel. I just want to say before we start this, we couldn't find the actual footage, what we're looking for, because it seems to be removed somehow. But what I will comment is that me and Jeremy and Jesse and Michael sitting at work, we all really like the Gold Coast Titans this year, and there's something special building up there, wouldn't you say, Joel? Something special building. Was that your exact words? Yep.
There
and
is
we all
something
laughed.
special building up there. It's just got a feeling. Find a new
Hang on,
coach. Good
the
things
Raiders were
happening.
getting the wooden spoon, weren't they?
Yeah, but there's something special building the Gold Coast. So I'm going to talk about the Gold Coast after this short commercial brought to you by Brand Power.
So,
Oh, no, you got to go back. No.
So
I'm
the
not in.
Gold Coast Titans. I'm really keen to see the Titans this year. So
And even your
Nah,
dad's
you know
joining in
what?
on the banter.
You know what, boys? Credit that's brilliant. That is brilliant stuff. So I'll say that.
You're welcome.
Oh, go on. So my question is, where to for the Gold Coast Titans? Jesse, can you save me and take some
No,
pressure off?
You've answered your question. They're onto some big things at the Gold Coast Titans.
Big
What are we
things.
concerned about? Oh,
They're
big
lucky
things.
there's no relegation. Because if there
Don't
was,
say that.
don't say
Titans
that.
fans will get angry at you.
Let 'em.
Just be careful.
They should be
here.
angry at their club. They should be angry at their own players. Don't worry about me. You know, I'm sure enough of them have copped the shit for the last couple of seasons with the dirt they've been putting out. Bit of hope, you know, maybe this season we can get some good stuff out of them. Get Des in there. Obviously, losing Tino is probably the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to him. So, you know, you can't blame everything around that. You know, they've got more players than just Tino, apparently, but it doesn't seem like it.
Do they?
No, well, fuck, they may as well not. They've got Aaron Clark. What do you mean? He's the next best thing. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see any way out for them. Obviously, Des is over it already, so he's like, "What have I signed up for?" But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where they go from here, kind of thing. Like, I know it's very early days, but you know,
You watch them beat
It's
the
not-
Cowboys this week.
if that happens,
100%.
then I think they're going to be like, you know what, we're turning this over now. Like, it's all over now. Harley Smith Shields is the guy. He'll be the one that scores a hattie. So we'll just have to see if chopping and changing your wingers is the ideal play for a team that has less direction than, you know, 2 5/8s running the team. So see what happens.
You know what? Jed's the producer. What do you got for me after your big producer moment just then? Well done.
Well, the Gold Coast Titans are a basket case, and as Jesse said, them losing their best player is not going to help them in any iota. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. It's going to be interesting how many doors get slammed off hinges. I think we're going to be tuning in not so much to the game of the Titans, but definitely the sprays that happen after the game. I think we're really excited for that, and I think if Desi starts to front up to some media, I think we might find some gold within that too. If Ricky Stewart can do it, Des can do it too.
There'll be something leaks
Is-
coming out quite soon, surely.
This is a good question here because I've actually had a look at the Titans draw for the next like 5 or 6 weeks. I actually don't know when they're going to win their first game with what I'm looking at. They've got some pretty hard games coming up. Starts this weekend against the Cowboys up there at Townsville. Adam, it's realistic. They could be like 0-10 or something like that. It's not
Yeah.
great.
I just want to ease Jesse's mind first. I think you're a little bit worried about the Gold Coast fans. You don't need to be worried about the Gold Coast fans. They don't have any fans. Every single game played at their stadium, there is more opposition fans there. They've got one recognisable fan in BKR. And I have literally watched that bloke's video sometimes, and he cheers the other opposition just as much anyway, because he doesn't really get to support his team in big games anyway. But look, they're a basket case. They're in for a long year. There's nothing special brewing. But I just want to kind of change the pace a little bit about the Gold Coast Titans and say sport doesn't work on the Gold Coast. Like every single team across every single league in Australia has not worked. The Gold Coast Suns get absolutely no one there. Once again, dominated by away fans. In the A-League, you had the Gold Coast United, folded, gone. Now, the Gold Coast Titans, nothing's working for them. Like, does the NRL, when do they come out and admit they got this wrong? Because I know you said, Joel, it's too early to comment, but Redcliffe's worked. They brought in a team, obviously with a support base. The Queensland Cup's been going for a long time. Is it time to boot the Gold Coast Titans eventually? They've got no fans. You've got no fans. They've got no club. Had to do it. Like an absolute basket case. Like you don't see him as a genuine threat ever to win a comp or feature in the finals. Like really, besides that first year when they went off and signed Preston and Matt Rogers and stuff like that. Like I know they made, they made 2 final series across their time, 2 or 3.
I think 3, I think.
That's next week's trivia question, guys. As a spoiler. But like I said, like
0.
the NRL completely screwed up. Like I said, they should get rid of bringing someone like Ipswich, play a few games at Gold Coast. What's Ipswich to the Gold Coast? 50 minutes, an hour. Ipswich can play some games. Ipswich games at Brisbane, and all of a sudden you've got a team that people actually care about and might take a bit seriously.
Well, the reason for my post the other day I put up about the Titans and have they been successful, some fans took that as me having a dig at the club while they were in their darkest hour, so to speak. It wasn't that at all. I'll just literally ask you a question because when you do look at the results, you look at the history of Gold Coast franchises, the brutal, honest opinion there, and the facts are it hasn't worked. What is to say it's going to change and work? The Gold Coast area, I guess, has expanded. It's gotten obviously more populated. More people are moving up here. But has that helped the Gold Coast crowds at all? I would argue probably not. We've seen places like the Dolphins come straight into the competition. They have had success both not just on the field, off the field, they are absolutely flying. I think so many people underestimate the money that they have. They're probably one of the only NRL teams still that can support themselves without any funding whatsoever. Can the Titans do that? No, they can't. They would be seriously struggling if they didn't get that grant each and every year from the NRL. That then opens up to when I posted that and I thought about it, the NRL ideally want to get to 20 teams. We all know that. Whether that's in the next 3-4 years or it's in the next 10 years, their big goal is to get it back to a 20-league competition for TV ratings, etc., and different time zones and stuff. Then for mine, that means at the moment, you'd have to add in, you got 3 more teams to add in to get to that stage if I'm counting that correctly. I still think there's room for that 4th team that it hasn't been named yet. Because at the moment, if you think about it, you'd have the South Pacifica team that they really want to have based around PNG for some reason. I don't think that should be happening, but the NRL and the government seem set on that one. I think there has to be a second New Zealand team with the way things are going. There has to be, for mine, the way it's getting to a Perth team. And as you said, Adam, around that sort of Ipswich area in Queensland looks like a much better opportunity to play, and I think there needs to be at least one game at Suncorp each and every week, and that opens up that avenue to make sure that happens. They can base themselves once again out of Suncorp, have a couple of games out in one of those suburban sort of grounds, and that's that. I'm not saying get rid of the Titans, not at all. That would not be, I'd prefer having all 17 teams still in the competition, but when you want to make the competition better and stronger, you've got to look at these teams. And the Sharks, another example, like their home ground facilities at the moment are dreadful. Like if we're being fair income, I don't want to offend Sharks supporters, but I'd move the Cronulla Sharks. I would move them over to say Perth or something, the Perth Sharks or something, because their facilities are dog shit.
It's the Tigers as well, but the Tigers facilities are dog shit as well. They're not going to spend you on Leichhardt. I know they've got Gambletown as well, but West Tigers makes sense to be in Perth. You don't even have to change your names, like play half your games, but I'm not a big fan of Perth, and I guess when we're talking about expansion, is the biggest problem is it's going to come about what works for TV unit ratings, not what actually works for the fans.
Bring
And
back the Bears.
I want the Bears,
Bring
exactly right.
Bring
The
back
Bears.
But there's
Bring
an opportunity.
back
There's
the
an
Bears.
opportunity there. Like this Pacifica thing it's never going to work. First of all, there'll be no halves, but you could have the Gold
There'd be a
Coast
lot
Bears.
of centers, a lot of
Yeah,
high flying
a lot of
centers.
centers. Yeah, but you could have the Gold Coast Bears, for example, or like I want the Central Coast Bears, 100%. That'd be absolutely awesome. You're right. New Zealand has to be a thing. Wellington, they need to get New Zealand pretty much while the Warriors are still flying because it's huge over there at the moment.
Yeah.
But Queensland's a big place, Joel. I know you live there. Like it's 15 hours from Townsville to Brisbane. There's a big gap on that right hand side. They've got a lot of COVID games with already big supporter bases up around the Queensland Cup that could come in and put a team in for sure. And you know, like it's untainted area besides. Well, it is untainted area. Like there's no other rugby league, no other sport in
No.
Australia that has teams there.
It's a rugby
Jez,
league
I want to
mecca.
ask you.
Mm.
Yeah, I want to ask you quickly, Jez. The Gold Coast Titans, and Jesse, I want to ask you the same question. So get ready for your answer before we move on. Have they been a success since they've been into the competition? The Gold Coast Titans, the franchise, has it been successful?
Well, in terms of, I was just literally going through the comments that on the post that you put up, and you know, people measure success in very different ways. There was a lot of no premierships, couple of spoons, no minor premierships, like 2 finals appearances. So if you're rating it on field success, then no, probably not. Though we did have some really fun names that went to the Titans when they first came in, and I kind of got on the Titans bandwagon when they came in because of Matt Rogers, Scotty Prince, Campbell. Like that was fun. I enjoyed that little initial part. But I think as a rugby league, it's good to have another team. It's always good to have another team. It's good when the Titans are playing well. When they're a bit of a basket case, it's easy to sit here and bash them and go, well, there's no point of them being here. They haven't been successful. But just going through a couple of those comments, and that people were saying, well, yeah, it's given us as Gold Coast locals something to go and support. So we don't want to go and support the Broncos. We don't want to support Redcliffe. Like this is our team, and we've been members since day dot. I've got plenty of mates that go to the rugby league. They must be sitting on the other side of the cameras because we don't see them when it's their home games, obviously. But you can measure success in different ways. If it's the on-field success, no, probably not. They haven't been a very successful franchise. But in terms of rugby league and all the benefits that do come from that, minimal success, minimal.
Jesse,
I don't know.
have they been
Yeah,
a
well-
success to you?
Well, I think Chet's pretty much covered it. Like I would say, it depends on how you
He is good.
determine what success is. Yeah, I can't follow that up at all. But like, obviously, from a startup point, no, they haven't. Like they haven't done really anything besides give teams 2 points almost every week. So, on that side of things, no. From a community's perspective, I don't know. I'm not from the area. I'm sure there's people that love it. I'm sure there's people die hard for them too, and that's never a bad thing to have local sport. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's kids that are growing up in the area that are aspiring to play, at some point in the area and that kind of thing, and think that they could probably do a better job than some of the players that are out there. And to be fair, they probably could. So it gives them that sort of hope that what, maybe like there's a chance here, and that's never ever a bad thing, especially when you're taking like pull the team out of the comp because obviously then they're just all going to give up. They're going to go nowhere. You wouldn't want to support the Broncos anyway. So yeah, on that side of things, I would say there's probably more benefit to the community than there is to the actual league itself. You can't expect a team like that to come in out of nowhere and go, cool, we're gonna win the comp in the next 5 years. Like that's the plan. Like it's okay, it might be a bit hopeful. Maybe, to be honest with you, see how the Dolphins go. Like their facilities are unbelievable. Obviously, they've had a lot of support to start from. I don't think the Titans initially had that kind of thing when they came into the comp. So it just depends on how you measure success on their side. If they just want to plod along and chip away and kind of just build up for the next 20 years, maybe they are finding this at some point, consistent enough. But I don't think this is kind of what you get into the game for.
When people start to lose money, that's when they're going to go. So I'm going to use the Newcastle Jets as an example here. They are bleeding money, and it looks like next year we won't have an A-League team for Newcastle, which is horrible for the area. We are a massive football area, and I'm talking soccer this time. We are a massive area and development area, the Newcastle area. I just said area like 7 times. You're still with me? So
Love
that's
the
going to be
area.
really hurtful having no A-League team in the region. So you take the Gold Coast out of there, and that's what that community sense is going to miss, and that's what those juniors are going to miss. If they can't see a clear pathway as to the game that they love of to where they can get to, that's going to be huge if that's not there.
But they've got a
The problem-
pathway. They've got a pathway because they've got Brisbane and the Dolphins. Like, obviously, they're obviously going to bring another Queensland team eventually. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I guess the difference. Let's say you take the Knights out, bowl the Knights.
Adam, like for us, Sydney is only a couple hours down
2
the
hours
road.
away.
It's not
Exactly.
that far away.
That's the same thing.
And we're still bummed about the Jets not being here on a soccer point of view.
Hold the club. I've had enough. I want to highlight one more thing, just from the comments coming in about where they need teams. Like, someone said there's 8,000 members of the Gold Coast. I know everyone saw it come up today, but some of these are probably working a bit harder than me today. But the NRL's announced today a Footy Country Series is a new initiative to celebrate and support rugby league in regional Australian communities. So we're obviously talking about games in Queensland and stuff like that. They've come out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, right? We're talking about rugby league heartland and stuff like that. Rugby league heartland is the country. It's as simple as that. There's a team in the Gold Coast, someone like the Gold Coast, for example, who gets absolute basket cases of crowds. Like, the crowds are terrible. They should be the ones looking to take games to Queensland, to regional Queensland, you know, sit around Jim Mackay or something like that to try and grow their supporter base. And they're not doing it. There's 8 teams, 8 games. Yep, go.
A smack bang what you're saying there, and I wanted to touch on this with what Jesse said about the community side of things. And obviously, me now living up here for, I think it's closing on 6 years or something now that I've been up here, so I'm pretty much consider myself a local, still a New South Welshman for Origin, so don't get too ahead of yourselves, guys. But the thing, and this is what I sort of question, and I look at stuff, and I go, the Dolphins, yep, they're very new still, but what the Dolphins have done so well is they've grabbed an area. They've grabbed some fans and they've been so passionate about it. You can tell now the Dolphins fans. People go to the Dolphins games and majority of them are Dolphins fans. I know it's very early for them still, but they've established their fan base because they had that. Obviously, they've had Redcliffe Dolphins for years and years and years now. So they had that base already. The Titans have been around for what? Since 2007. So what's that? Almost 20 years. So not 17 years or something. They haven't, for mine, grabbed the community anywhere near as well as they should have. And there's obviously, we all know there's obviously content creators out there that are Gold Coast Titans fans that do a good job themselves, but it's not up to them to grab, to engage and grow the fan base. Like, they can do only so much. It's up to the Gold Coast Titans as a club. And I don't think they're doing anywhere near enough to actually engage with the community. And as Adam has pointed out, go to those areas in Queensland that haven't got those rugby league teams that are crying out for it. We've seen so many people, so many players produced in some of these areas. Go there, establish yourself there, and grab these fans. You've got to do that because at the moment, the Gold Coast as a whole, for instance, I go to Gold Coast games. I'm obviously not a Titans fan, and that's the majority of people who go to Titans games at the moment are not Gold Coast Titans fans, but because we don't get much rugby league up here, we're happy to go sit there, pay 20 odd bucks to get a ticket, and we sit there and just watch a game of rugby league because we don't get our team up here each and every week. And obviously that hurts the atmosphere in the game because we're not there passionately chanting Titans, etc. But that's where they're at. Where I've been to a couple of Dolphins already. I know last year was their first year, so I was a bit more into it, and I'll be going, I think, on the weekend, so I'll talk about it more after that. But it's a genuine atmosphere, and that's playing at Suncorp, so much bigger than Seabus, and they're getting such a better atmosphere at their games. It's hurting them, and the Titans have to do something for mine to get fans engaged, to actually have an identity as a club, which I think they haven't been able to do yet.
Final say on the Titans: if they are to fold, we will always remember the Titans.
That is my favorite movie of all time. I absolutely love that movie.
Well. Yeah.
That gets me every time.
Left side.
Strong side. I could cry now thinking about it. Anyway, let's preview quickly a couple of the games. We better do that and talk some rugby league about this weekend. So, Storm versus the Broncos. Jesse, who you got in this one and why?
I've got Melbourne for this one, mainly because they've basically got everyone back, and they're flying and they look good too. So they look good without Munster. I really want to see how he goes. I really want to see if that injury sort of bit downplayed or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how things pan out. But yeah, I'm going Melbourne for this one. Sure.
Jez?
I'm going Melbourne too, for all reasons listed, and also that it's a Melbourne home game. So I think Munster's going to hit the ground running here, but hopefully he doesn't wash his hair before the game because slippery stuff, that shampoo.
There's no confirmation that he's playing yet either. I still heard Bray talk about it tonight. He doesn't seem 100% on it. Adam?
Yeah, I've got Melbourne as well. I think Brisbane, they've got a bit of I won't say like a gambling hangover again. It's obviously a theme in my life, but I think they've got a bit of a grand final hangover going on. And the fact they've lost Walsh, also known as Batman, with that mask he was wearing at training the other day, but they've lost him, and I just can't see him getting over Melbourne at Melbourne.
I am going the Melbourne Storm, Andrew, and absolutely is one of my pet hates when people call them the Storms. They are not the Storms. Oh, honestly, it does my head in every time. South versus the Warriors.
Hang on. What are they as individuals then? What are they as individuals?
Melbourne Storm.
Like you say, the Eels players.
Storm
can't
players.
be
Storm players.
But it's also the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, but they're a bunch of eels, a swarm of eels. Like, what's the plural for a storm?
Storms. But with an extra apostrophe.
It's just storm. There's no
eels is one word.
They're never the Storms. Honestly, they're never the Storm. Just move on from it.
But they're a collective bunch of players. They've got to be the Storms. I feel like they got it wrong. I know it's a storm, but I feel like they got it wrong. They should.
I know we're predicted to have about 80 mils in the next 24 hours, Adam, but you got to calm down.
Yeah, you got to chill out.
I could be in for my first flood in here. It's going to be amazing. I won't be able to go to work.
Yeah, I don't reckon I'll go to the Knights on Friday if it's pizzling down.
On that, everyone stay safe as well. There is a lot of rain, obviously, about to hit a lot of areas around the east coast of Australia. Unfortunately, South versus the Warriors, though, which will look like they're going to be playing in this. So who knows what the scoreline? The scoreline could literally be 1-0 the way this is going, or 2-0. You never know. I'm going the Warriors in this one. I still don't like what I'm seeing from South Sydney. I think the Warriors will get this one done. Jesse, why are you looking at me like that?
Did you just skip a whole day?
Yeah, I've only picked out a couple of. Didn't you see the agenda?
Up the Waz.
Up the
Yeah,
Waz.
there you go.
Okay, I was just like, all right, forget Friday then. It's going to be a washout.
We don't
anyway.
talk about
It's all
some of the
rubbish.
boring games. We don't talk about the boring games.
I just want to tip the Roosters, mate.
That's a boring game. You'll beat them by 50.
Yeah, to be fair, maybe. Carry on. Sorry, sir.
So South versus Warriors.
So
You're
who
going
you
to put
tipping?
now?
South versus Warriors. Warriors. God, I'd never tip the Rabbits. They look woeful. Sorry, boys. I don't see you digging yourself out of that hole. But yeah, Waz look great, man. Obviously, a bit of a shame Metcalf's out, but as far as the rest of the team goes, man, Flying Shines is back too. So it's just like, I want to see some good things happen here.
And he slotted straight back into fullback too.
Yeah,
Hello.
I think that was always going to happen. Like, I think the whole thing, even preseason wise, they were pretty clear about Tuivasa-Sheck being the center. Even when it came around to Shans being injured in the first place, Topiki got the run, where naturally you would just assume Tuivasa-Sheck was there. So and I think that's probably a really good thing for them to do as well, instead of getting him in that position and then bouncing him around individually, where they're like, you're the center, do your job at center. We're going to work around that in general. Topiki was there too. And like, to be fair, what a player. Bit of a shame to not see him last week with that concussion, but I suppose the natural, order of things is Shans is back, and then Tuivasa-Sheck goes back to his, position as far as they run. So it's just a bit of stability from the Warriors. You know what I mean? It's always good.
Yeah. Jez, who you got?
I've got the Warriors. Same sort of thing. It's going to be so hard to tip the Rabbits when they're coming up against quality sides like the Warriors, who are flying at the moment. I think they're playing some really good footy, and it was highlighted by their halves against the Knights. Also, shout out to Tyson Frizzell. With a clean tackle, he broke his leg. That's how hard that bloke hits. Oh my goodness. That was insane. We're lucky to have him. Stop breaking people's legs though. It's not great. But I am tipping the Warriors.
Adam, who you got?
I don't think the Warriors are clicked yet. I don't think they clicked against Newcastle. They scored a couple of early tries, which they obviously did against Cronulla as well. And like I said, I just don't think they're handling the pressure of the expectation. They've got all the key components there to be a top 4 team or a top 2 team or a team that can win the comp, really, but it just hasn't happened yet. All the media beat up about South Sydney and how they're struggling, and once again, Latrell in the news. Add the weather into that, which is going to be absolutely pizzling. It's going to really affect the Warriors' style more than anything. I'm tipping South Sydney.
Ooh, look out. Last one I want to talk about before we get a couple of questions in: Dolphins versus the Tigers. Tigers obviously flying at the moment. So are the Dolphins, sitting on top of the competition. Look out. It sort of reminds me of last year when they just fell away and fell off the perch in a way, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. Looking forward to the battle of the fullbacks, Hammer versus Buller, 2 guys that are flying at the moment. I think Galvin's a huge loss to the Tigers, hence why I will go ahead and tip the Dolphins in this one. Adam, who you got for this one?
I didn't do any research on this one because I'm really not excited by it. I'm glad someone is here. I thought the Dolphins
in form.
Yeah, form. Yeah, when it's funny how a team can be in form when they've won 3 or 2 games. Look, 2 games. They both won 2 games, haven't they, this year? And a bye each.
Yeah, and a bye each. Yep.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. I thought the Dolphins weren't good last week. I just thought that the Gold Coast were absolutely ordinary. The Tigers were gritty. They wanted the win. They do that every Easter Monday. They've got to be able to consistently back that up now, which it's too early to determine if they can, if they are a different team. I don't like the Dolphins' effort areas, though, so I'm going to actually tip the Tigers to win this one.
Jez?
Yeah, I'm going to mirror what Adam said around the Dolphins. Again, I don't think they're a team that have clicked, even though they're sitting in first place. They've come up against some opposition that probably weren't at their peak. I think the Tigers have a good opportunity here to put a couple of wins in a row. And I think if they can ride the momentum from the close game that was against Parramatta and that winning feeling, if they can get a few more going, this is their opportunity to really start that ball rolling. So I am too going to pick the Tigers.
Ooh, the West Tigers. Jesse?
Perth Tigers.
I'm going Dolphins.
Adelaide Tigers.
Just out of, the traditional sense of not really having too much confidence in the Tigers to come out with an actual win when they've been tipped for one. They have looked really good, you know what I mean? And you're right about last week, like they were gritty. They got themselves a win where traditionally they would have comfortably rolled over for that one. So I do think that Galvin is going to be a really big out for them. And it's crazy to say because obviously he hasn't played much and he's still so young and it's very hard to put that much expectation on a kid. But he looks unbelievable. And like they wouldn't have been in that game without him at all. Whether or not Bud Sullivan comes in and does a similar job, he hasn't really had the game time to kind of work on any of those combinations at all. So like I don't see it. At an individual level, the Dolphins kind of win out for me in almost every position too. So barring the forwards, but even still, yeah, just being up in Queensland, just a couple things for the Dolphins in general. Like they haven't looked great, but they haven't looked as bad as round one, and they've just progressively getting a bit better and better. So for that, I'd go the Dolphins this week, but it wouldn't shock me if the Tigers did win. So things are changing over in the West there. So
smart play,
Always
Jesse.
a
Just
great
keep
big
following me in,
sound
brother.
in the West of
I'll look after you. I'll take you under me wing. Look, guys, we'll get to a couple of questions. So just quickly get them in. We'll be for a couple more minutes. I'll start us off just while we get some of those questions rolling in.
I've got one too, so I'll go after you.
All right. I want to ask you, boys, what reality TV show would you back yourself in to win?
Love Island.
MasterChef.
Australian Idol.
Love Island. Hang on. I know you're going to say Australian Idol. Jesse, hang on a second. A bit of context here. Love Island, eh? What do you think?
Nah, I knew I'd get a rise out of you. To be fair, I very rarely watch TV. So, yeah, I did it for the reactions, mate. It was worth it.
Married at first sight then, or?
I was.
No.
Oh,
that was beautiful stuff.
There you go. Hopefully she'll watch this.
Jez,
MasterChef.
Cook, eh?
Yeah, that's my meditation. I love getting in the kitchen and cooking for the family. So I reckon I'd give that a red hot nudge.
And Adam, obviously, you just think yourself as a singer. You want to give anyone a quick 10-second of something?
Well, when you come down in June, we'll see how we go. For the best 10 seconds of your life. But maybe Magic Round. You never know.
We are expecting 80 mils this weekend.
Yeah, look. I don't perform
In
for
10
free.
seconds? Jesus.
Damn.
All right, I've got one.
Yeah.
I've got one. If you can
Hang
change
on, I haven't
one.
answered.
Oh, okay,
I
right.
haven't
Yeah, go
answered.
on.
You answered your own question.
Sorry.
The question was set up for you.
Big Brother. I want to go Big Brother. I reckon I back myself on to get onto Big Brother and win the thing.
Well, if
Love
they're gonna-
that show. Give
they're
me the
gonna send-
challenges.
They're gonna
Only if they
send
do
you
up
a-
late so I can see your doodle.
Apparently, I'm already seeing it.
There's a few that's come in. Go, Jez. You go first.
All right, so if you could change one rule in any sport, what would it be? And the example is, in rugby league, you're allowed to nominate one player that can shoulder charge per team.
Get a
So
straight
have a
up
think
no
about
rule.
it. If you could just change one, just tweak one rule
I've
to
got
make it
one.
more interesting
I'm
for
ready.
the viewer, what would it be?
I'd ban the headgear from rugby league. I think anyone who wears headgear in rugby league is an absolute coward. And sorry, sorry.
Oh, there's Matt.
Matt had to say something in the comments. Give me some time. I'm actually going to think about my actual answer.
I was going to say
I do
anyone who
have
wears
other
headgear
examples.
on a podcast is an absolute flog. Then, so my answer, I would change in golf. I would actually let every player play off a preferred lie every shot. So you can move your ball around about a 10 centimeter radius and pick a better lie each and every shot. So just so you get it nice and flushly hit each and every shot, because it's hard enough that game as it is. So just let us move our ball. If we're right in front of that stupid tree, let us move that little bit over and have that clear shot. We're going to probably duff it anyway. So let us go.
That's really great for the viewers or the viewer of the golf.
Well,
Another
it
example is in the Tour de France, one of the team members is allowed to have a pocket full of marbles and they can drop it at any time.
Thumbtacks. Banana peels.
I'd watch that.
Bit like
I've got
Mario
Another
Kart.
example, NASCAR, one car goes the other way.
That
got
would be
one.
Well,
incredible.
you
I'd watch it.
You know what? NRL.
Beach volleyball. Get rid of the bikinis. They get more viewers.
Full body suits, I agree. Sun safe.
Yeah, that's
More
True, a bit
sun
more
safe.
aerodynamic.
What about-
100%.
What about a nude Olympics? You can compete, but you have to be nude.
How they did it back
Whatever
in
you
our
do,
day.
you're nude.
I don't feel like clothing is a rule in the Olympics anywhere on paper, to be fair. I think they kind of just do it because it's sensible. But to be honest, I think if you went out there and you did some like pole vault or some high jump or any of that sort of business where you're getting your limbs flailing around with no clothes on, and then everyone was
I'd be
like,
fine.
hold on, I feel like you need
I'd
to
be
put
fine.
at least spandex on. Be like, show me where it's written.
Imagine that
I'd like to
Jamaican
just-
bobsled team.
I see
Wow.
nothing here.
I was
This has
trying to
this
lean
has gone
towards
in the
that,
wrong
Adam.
direction.
It would be
Yeah.
nice to see, like, just compare different athletes and the pole vaulters against
Compare
the
different
sprinters, and
athletes.
then the sprinters against the equestrian team to size. You know what I mean? Like, I reckon you're lining up on the 100-meter line, and the look out.
Hold on.
Anyway,
Here's one. Here's a good power play.
Right, I go on.
Power pull in rugby league. You get one set a game where it's unlimited tackles.
Then how does
But
it
how
end?
long
Is that
would-
sorry?
Yeah, how long can it go for?
Till a drop
So you-
ball.
Like rugby, have you seen the sport rugby union before?
Till an
Oh, it's
obstruction.
just one whole set,
Yeah.
unless it's a try
One whole
or,
set.
or an infringement where it goes out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I reckon that'd be because how many
I'd
times you
watch
see
that.
a team they're stuck down their own end, they can't quite get out. You know, the kick isn't good enough, or you know they're under pressure. You give them unlimited sets, and they can just work and work.
But
Yeah, tough
everyone
they
on
are
the
to actually
team
get
has to
out.
do the same signal, and it's this.
Subtle.
And we might actually see
Oh,
if we get Parramatta, for example, got 23 tackles, you might actually see Sivo come in to take a run. You never know.
Oh, I love where this podcast is starting to get.
Right,
to.
what
It's
have we
starting to
got?
get to
What have
this
we got
level
from
at
the viewers?
moment. Eels versus will the Eels sign Lomax?
Because you can't every week. Oh, he's gone.
It's looking very
He's lost.
likely. So it's looking likely, but who, me?
Yeah, you were gone.
No, you're
gone
good.
back.
Am I back?
You
Yeah,
back.
you went a bit robotic
Oh,
for a
You
sorry.
second.
turned,
Get off.
you turned into a
Andrew,
Titans
can-
fan for a second. Just
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, there's a storm on its way here, so I have a feeling my internet's
storm
gonna
or
be
a storm?
Storms.
very soon.
It's a storms.
A storm's on, a storm's on its way.
Storms.
Can we get everyone's go-to KFC order? To be honest with you, controversially, I'm not a huge KFC
Hot
man.
chips.
It always makes me feel like shit. So
Yeah,
I'll
it
go
does.
like their sliders. I don't mind the sliders and maybe their nuggets. Their nuggets are not too bad, but I'm not a huge case. Probably right down on my list of fast food go-tos, and it's literally around the corner from me. So that's saying
Damn.
something.
A Zinger
It's a hater.
stacker box, upsize with a Sunkiss, with a sweet and sour sauce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Uh,
Bacon and cheese zinger with wicked wings. Extra salt on the chips. Occasionally throw in a go bucket. And yeah, a solo. Large, of course. So
Jeremy, can you give your
it-
old order? Can you give your
Okay,
old
it
order?
used to be about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It used to be the Zinger combo box with the wicked wings, and you'd get a Gaytime crusher for the drink.
oh God, bring back the crushers, man.
Bring
Here,
back
And
here.
the
Gaytimes.
tackles too. Bring back crusher tackles. I just
I
want
still-
crushers.
I still have them over here. I still have them overseas.
Oh,
Good
the
idea.
barbecue
Over
bacon
tea.
roller. That used to be bomb. I
Oh,
don't know if
they
you
were
guys remember
good,
that one.
man.
That used to
Yeah.
be.
Mm.
And they were
I
like
used to get like
$2 or
4 or
something
5
too.
at
The,
a time.
the
Oh.
nacho cheese one was good too. When I had that
Yeah.
nacho cheese one, that was the tits.
Very solid.
Do we any current NRL player that we think will move into the coaching position in the next 15 years? Anyone real sort of point out to anyone?
Current
Current.
player.
I don't really. Yeah, current player. To be honest, I don't really see it. If anything,
Delphin.
maybe
Isaiah
Nathan
Yeo.
Cleary to follow his dad.
Sean Johnson.
Isaiah Yo.
I see you.
Adam
Seems
Reynolds.
like such a management kind anyway.
He does. He just seems like he could manage men,
Yo.
if you know what I mean.
Oh no!
Oh,
That's
Joel's
man.
frozen. Look how happy he is. Look how happy he
Yeah.
is.
Should
Oh, there we go. He's back.
Screen grab that one.
All right.
Chad
That's all we've got
Townsend.
time for,
Chad
guys.
Town-
We've
Chad
had a few.
Townsend. Chad Townsend. I'm putting Chad Townsend there late. There
Yeah,
could be a job. There could be a
Super
job
League.
coming up.
Yeah,
in
he
the
just coaches
Cowboys
from a
eventually as well.
podcast. He just sets a computer up in the dressing rooms and he's just potting from home. Like
That's what Benji
sitting there
does.
Jesse, what
benching.
about-
Yeah.
What about one of your roosters? We know Uncle Nick loves to set your players up for life, so no doubt you got 17 coaches coming through at the moment.
Yep. Which one out of all the Roosters at the moment makes the best coach, you reckon?
Dom Young.
Um,
I just miss
Luke
him. That's all.
look,
Cool.
as
You wouldn't
far
want-
as it goes, when you look at traditional, like even when you go and
He
look
wouldn't
at
remember.
Premier League managers and the like, or even just football managers in general, it's always the ones that never really seem to do quite well as players that do really well as managers. Doesn't really seem to translate quite well because you got players, like your Lampards and your Gerrards and stuff, shocking managers, incredible players. I feel like you have to just pick a rando out of the bunch, and all of a sudden that guy will be an incredible manager. Just couldn't cut it himself.
One I would like to see is Jared Hargraves, because I feel like
Yeah.
he could be one of those coaches you wouldn't say anything. He'd
Definitely.
just walk into the sheds and say halftime, your team's down by 20, and he just gives everyone that look and then just walks out and everyone's like, okay, we've got to
Fucking
win this.
shit.
we're probably going to get bashed if we don't win this. So imagine him just coming in. Holy
It's
shit.
intimidation plus that. Like you would be. He didn't even have to say a word. Hey, like imagine if he was managing the Titans right now, with that kind of
Oh,
passion.
they'd win every
just walk
game,
in there.
undefeated.
Don't even walk. Don't worry about it. Just walk in. Just look at everyone and say,
I've got a
disappointed.
good
wouldn't
one.
understand
want
him with
actually-
that
oh,
accent anyway.
An actual good one.
Would kill it.
I reckon this bloke will actually make a good coach. He seems to handle himself really well off the field. Seems to have
Sure.
good knowledge. Cherry Evans, yeah, obviously, but Christian Welsh is one I would consider who will be involved
Ooh.
in coaching.
Good
Like,
shout.
I generally can see that happen.
Yep, I like that one. Jez, because you did such a good job on Monday, do you mind signing off for us again? Because I loved your efforts on Monday night. I think you've taken over my role for the sign off.
Happy to. Well, if we're wrapping up here, let's get amongst it, shall we? The best way to support the page is by liking and sharing. The way that podcasts grow is by word of mouth. It's the best way to do it. So if you know anybody that enjoys rugby league, whether it's a lot or a little, get them onto the page, get them get them into our live shows, get them into the comments, and we will see these things growing. We actually have a bit of confirmation. Can we share this news, Adam?
We can share.
Or
it.
are we
It's
still
just not-
holding on to it for now?
Let's
I was gonna
let's hold on to it, but let's drop a hint
Let's
that
just
there
say-
will
wait
be.
till it's
Let's
official.
just say we've got big things coming at the Newcastle Parramatta round this year, and there could possibly be a live show in person. So if you are going to the Knights Parramatta game, you need to come into a pub within the vicinity, which we'll announce soon, because we will be doing a live show and lots of fan interaction as well. So if you want your say on the podcast, you can join us there. But also, if you want your say on the podcast, join the many pages that are listed below. Share your thoughts, share your comments, and that is how we are going to grow League of Inches to out of this stratosphere. That's all from us. Woo!